control. Confident living rights every wrong. Dynamic power helps me be strong. Confident living comforts my heart. I'm Mike Costello, and I'd like to talk to you in the next few minutes about how dreams can work for you. We often think that dreams are something that just visit us in the night as we're asleep, and we have dreams during our sleeping time. But psychologists and sociologists tell us that we all daydream to a great extent. And a lot of times we either worry about our daydreams or worry about daydreamers, or we discourage people from daydreaming because we believe that daydreaming in some way is a waste of time. But in reality, dreams are a wonderful mechanism for us to understand ourselves, to receive messages about ourselves from other realms, and also to condition the way in which we think. The unconscious dreams that we have at night come to us for a variety of reasons. They bring us messages from the other side. They bring us intuition and insight into our own thinking and into our life. And they are essentially message bearers and the opportunity for us to be given and filter information that we have from daily life. But daydreams are different. Daydreams are the thoughts that we have and the dreams that we have in a conscious or in a semi-conscious state. And because of that, the daydreams that we have give us an indication of how our minds operate and what's going on inside of us. The things that you daydream about and the things that I daydream about give us some feeling or some insight as to whether we're seeing things in a positive or a negative way. A lot of times we daydream by simply moving in our thoughts from the present moment into the future or into the past. But there are other kinds of thoughts that are really daydreams, and we misinterpret them or see them as less than or different from other kinds of daydreams. Anticipation is a dream. Worry and fear are dreams. And so when we enter into a time of worry or we enter into a time of fear of some circumstance or situation, our mind state is altered and we move into a state of dreaming. Dreams can work for us. They can strengthen us and empower us. They can also open a wonderful conduit and channel for our constructive conscious thinking and also for the receptivity of information, guidance, and direction from the invisible side of life. And this can happen in both the sleeping dream and in the awake or daydream. It can also happen in a dream state that we enter into in the period of meditation. But for today, I'd like to talk to you especially about your daydreams and how daydreams can work for you and how dreaming during your day and during your awake states can create for you a mechanism to open yourself to a positive and supportive way of thinking while connecting with the unconscious messengers that bring dreams or thoughts to you in your conscious state during the day as you move around. All of our thoughts are either positive or negative, and a few of our thoughts are neutral, neither positive nor negative. But as we daydream, as we move into the thoughts that alter our consciousness and awareness, very often we move into the realm of having fearful or negative dreams or negative thoughts. And with that, our thought process begins to anticipate and create and build upon negative thoughts and negative feelings. And anxiety, a fear of something that's going to happen, a fear of something that can happen, can create within us the tendency to have daydreams or to be in a dream state, in an altered state of consciousness, and to be in the midst of worry, of fear, of anticipation of negative or hurtful things. So often in current events, we tend to read the newspaper and see the negative aspects of life taking place all around us. And so then our daydreams or our unconscious thoughts begin to move into that cycle of worry, of anticipation of dread, of anticipation of the fearful or negative aspects of life.
But if our minds operate on the positive aspects of life, and if we cultivate a way of thinking in our conscious mind and a way of daydreaming in our semi-conscious state of being in a positive way, we condition our mind to look to the good. We condition and open ourselves to be receptive vessels or channels of good and positive information, of good and positive dreams, of peaceful dreams that create for us the inner nature that we want to have and that we already have as perfect and whole children of God. God made us all with a divinely connected mind. That is, our mind connected to the divine mind of God. And if our thought processes continue to follow the divine plan for thought, then we will connect always with the positive and affirmative actions of divine mind. But if we allow our minds to connect with negative influences, then the cycle moves in the opposite direction. And our daydreams and the ability that we have to dream and think about things that we want to do, things that we want for others, things that we want for our world, things that we want in our life, create for us a thought process that builds brick upon brick and thought upon thought to create for us a method or way of thinking. We say so often that we live in our minds and not in the world, and we believe that totally and completely, that we live in our minds, and the way that we think about the life that we live, and the way that we think about the relationship that we have with others, and the way that we think about our relationship with God and the divine and infinite intelligence will create for us the kind of life, the fiber of life, and the nature of life that we have, because we live in our minds. And the mind has this magnificent power to create a heaven or hell, to create positives or negatives, and our dreams can be and should be conditioned in such a way as to support the positive growth that daydreaming can have in our lives. I'd like to share with you 3 aspects of dealing with your daydreams, or with the dreams that you have of your life and of the world around you. The first one is to discover your dreams, and that is to examine and be conscious of what it is you are dreaming about in the daydream state, and what it is your dreams are for yourself, for others, and for your world. That's an issue of discovery. It's not an issue of judgment. It's simply an issue of understanding what your dreams are for life and making the dreams that you have positive and supportive, and allowing those dreams to condition the way that you think. The second thing that I'd like to invite you to do is to have a dedication to dreaming. And so often in our sleep dreams, we'll say that we either dream or we don't dream. We'd like to dream more. But in our conscious daydreams, we have a choice. And we can dedicate ourselves to having dreams, to having daydreams, to having times in which we think consciously about the things that we wish to have, the life that we wish to be in, and the experiences that we wish to have. So we need to discover our dreams. We need to dedicate ourselves and to create within ourselves a dedication to dreaming and to having dreams, and having those dreams be positive. And then the last phase is to demonstrate our dreams. Perhaps you have had a dream of wanting to do something in your life. Maybe it's make a trip to a certain place. Maybe it's write a book. Maybe it is learn to play a musical instrument. By discovering that dream and identifying whether it is positive or negative, and if it is positive, building upon it, dedicating yourself to the thought process of it, and embarking upon a process of dedicating your thought process to your positive and supportive dreams, then we move into demonstrating our dreams and making the demonstration of our dreams a reality. And in that way, the dreams that we have become creative forces for our life, and those dreams can work to fulfill our inner nature and the positive nature that we have. All of us have a divine connection, whether we accept it, or whether we discover it, whether we dedicate ourselves to it, or whether we demonstrate it or not. We all have a divine connection. And if we are able to connect our dreams, that is our daydreams and our dreams for life, our dreams for what we would like to be and what we would like to do, if we connect that with the divine essence of who and what we are, then our dreams are overshadowed, our daydreams are overshadowed, and our thought process is overshadowed by the divine connection that we have between ourselves and the Spirit and love and presence of God. And when we connect our dreams with that which is divine, we create a dream connection that opens a channel and creates a way for us to have positive and supportive dreams and ideas of life, to dedicate ourselves to maintaining those dreams, and thirdly, to making those dreams a demonstration or making them manifest in our lives. This is a simple process, but it requires a conditioning and dedication on our part. It requires us to examine the way that we think, and it requires us to look in a positive way at the way that we dream or think in an unconscious state about our lives. If we're able to connect our dream state, our daydreams and our thoughts, our aspirations and our desires with the divine Spirit of God, then that presence much more easily becomes manifest in our lives, and it becomes the essence of our being. And when we become one with this essence, with this divine presence, then we are empowered to be able to deal with all of the circumstances and situations of life, and to deal with them in a very positive and supportive way. So I invite you to look at your dreams, the dreams that you have in your sleep, but most importantly, the dreams that you have during the day, the dreams that you have for life, and the daydreams of your life. And in the process of discovering those dreams, dedicate yourself to conditioning your dreams in a positive and supportive way, connecting those dreams with the divine essence of who you are, and then demonstrating those dreams as realities in your life. And when you do, dreams will become for you an empowering force and will become another mechanism that you have to connect with the essence of who and what you are as a perfect and whole child of God. We believe in prayer, and we'd like to invite you at this point of the program to pause for a moment of prayer and reflection with us. Eternal and loving God, we gather our hearts and minds together in the awareness of your channeling mercy and grace that comes to us in the form of dreams in our sleep, but also in the midst of our dreams for life and our relationship with others and our dreams for what the future should and must be. And we connect ourselves in a divine way with this dream consciousness. We do this in the name of faith, in the name of hope, in the name of love. Amen.
That was a very powerful and conclusive message regarding the importance of dreams in our lives and how we can use dreams to have a better life.
I think people think so often of dreams as something that we have at night, and certainly that happens. And if we do talk or think very much about daydreams, we kind of discourage it.
Yeah.
And yet it is a creative force and something that we should cultivate.
You're right. People say, oh, he's just a dreamer, she's just a dreamer. Mm-hmm. And that's the people who have accomplished most in the world have been dreamers.
They have. And it's that dream state that I think makes that divine connection.
Yes, it is. It's the alpha state because they are connected with the divine consciousness, with the collective consciousness, divine consciousness, and some might phrase it the mind of God, but we're connected to that through our high self, to that inner core of being, and it's just so important that we do that.
And then the dreams that we have at night, which I didn't talk a great deal about, but the dreams at night connect us with the invisible side of life.
Yeah.
And bring us messages so often.
Yes, and helps. We can get anything we like, any information we like through our dreams. And in my past life therapy work, I give people assignments before they have their session to record their dreams and to ask before they go to sleep at night to be shown that which they need to know for their own soul's growth. And it's just amazing how much information they're able to get when they consciously do it. As you said, if they consciously do it, then it's more apt to come through.
And what you're doing is so important because you're inviting people to welcome the dreams.
Yes.
and to plant that seed thought that dreams are welcome and that dreams are to be a channel.
Yes, and to honor their dreams, to honor them. And there are those books on lucid dreaming where people can actually control what they're going to dream and decide what they want to get, what information they want to get, and they get it, and they feel they're actually doing it at the time. And that's a very wonderful help.
I think we probably spend more time dreaming than we do almost anything else, except we don't acknowledge it. and we're not as aware of it as we might be. And that's one of the reasons that I invited the listeners to actually discover their dreams and to participate in the process of conditioning and directing the dreams.
Yes, so they can know consciously what they want to ask and what information they want to get. And there's been wonderful help. One time, there was a man who wanted to have meditation meetings in my home, and I told him, no, I think if I'm going to have meetings, I should conduct those meetings myself. And he said, you're going to have a dream tonight, and we'll tell you that that I'm supposed to have these meetings in your home. So sure enough, and I asked, may I be shown? And that night I dreamed that I was going to attend a wedding, which would be the ceremony of his, and every symbol I could see as a part of his plan. And I was scheduled to attend a wedding, and I was in my closet looking for something to wear. The only thing I could find was a black sequin dress for an afternoon wedding, which would be totally inappropriate for an afternoon wedding. The only shoes I could find to put on my feet were white shoes. So no one would wear a black sequin dress with white shoes. And they wouldn't wear them in the afternoon either. Plus, I couldn't find a covering for my shoulders. So all I could find was that dress. It was bare. And so I told him that I'd had the dream, and he says, oh, you see, that means I'm supposed to have the meetings. And I said, no, it doesn't. So I showed him that feet are symbolic of your understanding, and I think that's universally true in dream analysis, that feet denote the understanding. And so my understanding was pure because it was white. I had the white shoes, and then the dress was totally inappropriate, which meant his plan was totally inappropriate. And I'm not sure if he saw that dream was the way I saw it, but it couldn't have been more clear. Now, we can always get answers like that to any problem we're facing if we just ask and remember.
And the symbolism, especially of our dreams in the sleep state, is so important. So often people would look at a dream like the one you shared with us, which had great symbolism and meaning, and take it at face value and think, isn't it odd that I dream about sequins? And so there is an interpretation, and of course many people are able to help with the interpretation of dreams.
Yes, well, I think he was looking to the glamour of having the meetings in my home and the glamour of being the leader of a group, instead of just being matter of fact and being one of the group and taking the leadership role in a casual way. He was seeing the glamour of that he was doing this, and this was an important aspect of his life. So I think that's why the sequence. Wouldn't you think so?
I think so. And of course, for him to be able to use his dreams in a positive and constructive way would be for him to, if he had a dream of leading a meditation group, then be conscious of that and enter into his daydreams or his semi-conscious dreams to be guided and directed in the way that he needed to be directed to get into that kind of work.
That's right. And then use his own space, which would be just as valid as using someone else's space. And so I think later on he did do that, and that's what I suggested to him. I think later on he did. But another time I gave a woman an assignment for a past life therapy session of recording her dreams, and she dreamed exactly what came through, the major thing that came through in the session, that she had been a prisoner of war in Germany, and the truck she was riding in went over the mountain. And it was a very conclusive and very complete dream. So I've seen it happen so many times. And of course, a lot of my friends, and I'm sure a lot of yours do too, do dream analysis. And it's a wonderful thing that we're able to have this guidance. Dr. Carl Jung, of course, gave us more pointers on dream analysis. And he said that only the dreamer can really interpret the dream. It's what does this symbol mean to you, the dreamer? And that's how we interpret it. We can't just put our values on someone else's dream, although there is universal symbolism as a whole.
There is, but there's not a cookbook
Right.
or an encyclopedia that we can go to that give us all of the answers. And part of the wonder and the mystery of dreams is that it does reveal something that is unique for each one of us.
Yes.
And so when we do have an unconscious or a sleeping dream, then it's a real challenge for us from a spiritual standpoint to be able to interpret that symbolism and to open ourselves to the revelation of that.
Yes. I love your topic for today because to me, dreams have always been important in my life. And I used to come downstairs mornings and ask my mother, guess what I dreamed last night? And she got so sick of hearing me ask that question that she bought me a dream analysis book. And I'm not sure it was a particularly good book, but at least her heart was in it. And it shows that we don't need to put our things off on other people. We can just think them through ourselves.
And the conscious dreaming, that is daydreaming, which is the best way I know to describe it, just has such negative connotations. I don't think that many of us encourage people to daydream.
Yes.
And we go back to the school, our days in school, when all of us daydreamed. And of course,
Yes.
when we find ourselves in a mental situation that either doesn't interest us or that perplexes us, so often it's easy to go into a dream state. And to be able to analyze and review the things that we are daydreaming about, and also to create dreams in our lives.
Yes, that's so important. And if we could teach people to do that, I think it would relieve the stress and tension that's in the world. Because I think that's one reason there's so much stress and tension, because everyone has such a busy schedule, from the very small children right on up to the older people, and everyone thinks they have to be occupied. It's that American work ethic seeping through into every facet of our lives, that we think we have to be busy every moment or we're not really paying our dues on earth. But if we just let people daydream, I know my youngest son used to daydream all the time, and it was a lifesaver for him. Probably he was very sensitive, and a lot of things were happening in his life, and he didn't do too well in school, but he daydreamed, and that took the place of that helped him do better in school.
It helped him, and it also, I'm sure, helped to focus and diffuse the kind of conflicts that he would
Right.
have and the hurt feelings that he might have gotten.
Yes.
And the other side of that is that we need to have dreams, and whether the dreams seem attainable or not, we need to have them. It's a little bit like we used to say to children, any child can become president of the
Yes.
United States, which is a wonderful and noble dream. But perhaps we have a dream of writing a book or taking a trip around the world. And in our conscious mind or in our thought, we may have the negative tendency to think, well, we'll never have the money to do that. We'll never do it. But so often the dreams that we have for ourselves and for our life create vehicles for us to do things that we never would have imagined. So whether we actually are able to demonstrate the trip around the world or demonstrate the writing of the book, the dream itself and cultivating it and building upon it continues to strengthen us in ways that we can't even imagine.
Yes, in such an inestimable way that we need to put greater value on that.
And as you said earlier when we began talking, every good thing has come from dreamers.
Yes. And we know that dreams can be so very constructive. So if we use them in that way, then consciously, then we do get more guidance if we're consciously using them in that way.
And they can guide us. And as I said in my talk earlier, they can condition our way of thinking and can condition us to think in a positive way and to dream in a positive way.
I'm sure you've seen how dreams can have helped you in your life, in your success, in your business, and in your life.
Sure. Actually, a dream is a vision.
Yeah.
And by having vision, we're able to build for everything from businesses to relationships to churches to whatever it is that we're called in life to involve ourselves.
Yes, and many doctors today have shown how visualization, which is the same thing, has helped people cure their bodies of dread diseases. I was talking with a young lady yesterday who said that she's using Carl Simonton's visualization tapes, and she feels it's helped her a great deal with the cancer that's invaded her body. And I know that it has, because the statistics show that this helps a great deal. And whatsoever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yeah, absolutely. And the connection between our thought process and our physical body is tremendous. And so the dreams that we have or the visions that we have of the healing process is just an integral part of having any healing.
Yes, and if we consciously realize that, I think the healing is more prevalent, is more sure, because it gives us greater strength of purpose, and it's our strength of purpose, our intensity of feeling and thought and projection that helps a great deal in that way.
And it creates then a manifestation, because
Yes.
the manifestation comes out of the thought. The thought is the creative force behind the manifestation of any reality.
Yes, and we need to let the young people daydream. We need to give them time and don't keep them occupied every moment.
Very, very important, and yet our tendency is to keep people focused.
Yes.
And I think we certainly need to be focused at
Yes.
points in time. And it isn't reasonable to expect that anyone should dream all of the time, but we certainly need to have a lot of time to dream and to create dreams in our lives and to dream about other things.
Yes. And I hear you saying that the night dreams can be just as important as the daydreams. The daydreams are extremely important in our lives, and visualization is just focusing that dreaming process.
And I think the daydreams do create for us a greater latitude, because so often in our night dreams, we're receiving information or we're connecting with our subconscious mind, and so there is the continual communication. But in our daydreams, we have absolute control over what they are.
Exactly. And in our night dreams, we often can't bring it back to full consciousness. Even when we ask, I teach people, ask, may I be guided in my dreams to know that which I need for my soul's growth? And then may I bring it back to full consciousness? But it doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm. But as people condition themselves and as they get better at dreaming or visualizing or seeing in their mind's eye, then the demonstration comes forth.
Yes. And we can use it in every facet of our life. I know that those of you who have been successful in business have used it in just that way. Mm-hmm. Your visualization process has been one of the most important aspects of your success in business.
So it's necessary to be a dreamer,
yes.
to be a daydreamer, especially if we're going to be successful and if we're going to diffuse the stress that people have in their lives.
Yeah. It's the greatest stress buster of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, songs have been written about it,
yeah.
and poems have been written about dreams.
Yeah. Well, there's so much available, too, in the world of helping us for guidance, for interpreting our dreams and for knowing what they mean, and for using dreams in a positive way.
And that's the key in this and all of the things that we talk about, is to see the positive aspects of any of the aspects of our nature. And Reverend Freelander and I have been discussing with you ideas in which you can make dreams work for you. And we hope you found the information useful. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Spirit, fullest control. Confident living rights every wrong. Dynamic power helps me be strong. Confident living comforts my heart. From such a blessing I can't depart. Confident living helps me expand visions of value the kingdom at hand. Confident living, talent to win, gift of the Spirit moves from within.